So Cecil, how did you like Body at Brighton Rock?
Well, let's just say that's why I don't go hiking.
Never do it alone.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Jaime Fuego here.
Here to do yet another review straight out of the 2019 Phoenix Film Festival with the partnership with the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival. We just got out of The Body at Brighton Rock.
See.
And this is one you can see a trailer for online right now. I'm not sure when it's due to be released, but...
We did a reaction to it.
We did. We did a reaction to it. It was part of a dual trailer reaction, I think, with the second season of Sabrina.
Yeah.
If you want to search out that reaction, I'll try and link to it at the end of this. But Fuego, let's do our overall thoughts, and then we'll talk about the story, the acting, the effects, all that good stuff in turn. What did you think?
Agreed. It's a good-looking film. It's well made. Not a lot really happens, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately. I mean,
yeah.
But we knew that coming in.
Well, we didn't know that. I mean,
we
had
hoped
an
for
idea.
more, but
Here's the thing. This movie is 127 minutes long, or no, an hour and 27 minutes long. And it basically is an hour's worth of setup, and then the last 20, not even, it's an hour and 5 minutes, maybe an hour and 10 minutes worth of setup, and then 15, 20 minutes of intrigue and stuff that's actually happening towards the end of the movie. Yes, it is a very beautiful film.
Very well shot.
Very well shot.
made.
The cinematography was great. It didn't look like a festival film. A lot of these movies look like festival films.
Yeah, it didn't look cheap at all.
No, Assassinaut was one that does look like a festival film. This one does not, but this one just was not pleasing to me. I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to take an hour and 5 minutes of your hour and 27 minute runtime for essentially setup, you better have a damn good last 20, 25 minutes. And this did not. Unfortunately, there was one point where I was like, oh, if this is where they go, I'm going to like stand up and applaud, because there was no inkling going in that they were going to go this way. And I truly wish they had, because they pulled back on it. And then they went a different way, and then they kind of went a different way again.
Even after that. But they did hint to it at the very beginning in the text messages.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So overall, it was pretty, but it wasn't...
It wasn't satisfying, regrettably. And that's not to knock performance from Karina Fontes. That's not to knock, Roxanne Benjamin and just her. This was her first feature, and I still haven't seen her segment from the XX, but she directed and wrote my favorite segment called Siren in Southbound, about these traveling girl musicians who end up with getting picked up by this weird family, and I mean, it was awesome. It was as I said, my favorite segment in that anthology. But this just didn't have enough weight or enough going on, and that's I'm sure some people might find this setup and this sort of film more satisfying than me, but it's not my cup of tea is what I'll say.
So the story is very simple. I mean, a girl shows up for work at her park ranger job, guarding over the Brighton Rock Park, national park, where there's trails all over the place, and it's really huge, and miles of forest.
Beautiful landscaping.
And so she is not. She hasn't been with the company long enough to know the trails, really, but because a friend of hers wants to stay inside the office area for boy reasons, she trades with her to go, and she's like, oh, it's just replacing signs on a trail, I can do that. And of course, being the newbie, she goes and tries to do that, but is not super successful, or at least she gets lost along the way. As she does, she discovers a body on the trail and calls out for help, and is basically told that no help can come for until the next morning, basically. And so she has to kind of babysit this body, make sure nothing happens to it, make sure no one else gets into it, secure the area, they tell her, while there is also active wildlife in the area.
And a hiker around too. And honestly, we see all of this in the trailer.
In the trailer, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the movie right there.
And it really is the movie. Yeah. And the trailer kind of just gives you most of the movie.
Yeah. There's no surprises, no curveballs. Yeah. There was a curveball, but then
which is what we implied.
She pulls the curveball back, and I was like, what are you why? Why would you do that? Like, that would have been truly surprising, but...
And I like the way that was shot and looked, too. That was cool.
She has a tremendous eye. I mean, it's a very well-directed... Well, I guess the performance was well-directed. I mean,
and that's
for
the
the most
segue
part,
into
too.
acting, since, since Karina
acting,
has to shoulder the entire movie pretty much herself. Yeah.
The first 5 minutes, they're supporting characters, and then there's a supporting character.
Goofy guy hitting on her
in the middle, and that guy, too. So, I mean... The acting was okay. She did a good job. The lead did a good job. But the guy that she happens across again in the trailer, he wasn't super great for me.
He was just okay. I mean, he was just there. He's not in a large chunk of it per se. But it is Karina's movie at the end of the day, and she has a lot to do, but yet very little to do. And that's once again, just going with a concept like this and the. Just the toughness of really making it interesting, This movie ultimately, I thought, it again changed directions again, but at one point the movie was going to be kind of just a meditation on fear. Yeah. And I thought, okay, if that's the way they go, that's kind of interesting. Or like how your imagination can act up on you and stuff like that in those situations. So I was like, okay, if that's the case, great. And then it changes again, and then I'm like, well, this is a lackluster version of this that we've seen before a number of times. Yeah, especially recently in an Oscar-worthy movie. Yeah. True. Well, I mean, segue into cinematography then.
Yeah, well, we both already touched on it a little bit.
Which we did. I will commend the score. I did like the score. Really liked the score. It gave you. It was almost like neo-western sort of thing, with the strumminess and everything. And I don't know. That's actually the type of score personally that I would throw on and listen to while writing or something like that. It was right up my alley. Being a big fan of westerns and things of that nature. I don't know. That was something that actually really stuck out to me specifically. So
yeah, the score. I agree. I noticed that from jump. The cinematography and the score are very apparently above. A higher grade than your average movie. Unfortunately, the rest of it just can't keep up. Yeah. And the story just doesn't deliver where it needs to deliver.
Well, and it's just tough, I think, to deliver with this premise, which is what it really boils down to. Because once again, we both commended her performance as being solid, and also, it looked good and the score was good and everything. So many pieces were in place. And yet, once again, I don't know. I didn't despise it or anything. It was just... It was satisfactory,
Did the director write it too?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, Roxanne Benjamin, like I said, I haven't seen the XX, but this was her first feature, and I loved her segment in Southbound, as I already mentioned earlier.
I still need to see that, and I need to see XX. Yeah. We held off on XX because Marcia and Susie need to watch it.
We wanted the girls involved. And honestly, maybe this is a tough subject for you and I to tackle, being the fact that this was written and directed by a lady and starring a woman and stuff. I mean, I think maybe
sexist the other way. We should be able to comment on it just as viably as any female.
But I wonder what one of the girls would have thought about this one, how their impression could have differed.
Okay, I am curious about a female perspective, but I think our perspectives are just as valid. You know what I mean? Let's talk about the effects. I mean, there was a tiny bit of them.
A little bit.
And when they're presented, especially in the dark, they come across as really kind of creepy and unnerving. It's more makeup effects than anything else. But
a little bit of blood and
the effects
points.
Towards the very end, I was checked out on. I was like, this does not look as good. We've seen this done so much better, and this is a low-budget version of it. And
although I think
don't do it if you can't do it right, is the way I say.
Although I think
stick with the other way that you were going earlier.
Yeah, compared to that recent Oscar-nominated thing, though, I think they.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Exactly. We reviewed it for Infuegotainment, you and me and Dave. Yep. So it's hinted at in the trailer. So I mean,
there's your hint. Go search Infuegotainment for a review us three did, and you'll know what movie and you'll know what scene.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was in the promotional material for that film too. So I'm really excited to see what Roxanne tackles next, though, because I do, as you mentioned, agree that she has an eye for directing.
I want to see her direct something someone else writes.
Really? I don't know. She wrote Siren, and Siren was great, so I don't know.
That segment, you mean?
The segment,
yeah,
Siren.
No, I see. I'm thinking Siren, the other Siren.
The film,
no.
yeah, the one that was a spin-off of VHS. Yeah,
Right.
which and she was also involved in one of the VHS films too. So she had done nothing but shorter anthology segments, and this was her anthological segments. Yeah. This was her first foray into something larger. So I'm curious to see what she does next, because I do feel like talent is there, and maybe just this wasn't the best idea to run with. But once again, personal opinion, film is subjective. Guys.
It was executed well. It's just the story it wasn't satisfying. It didn't land with us.
Yeah. So
that's it. That's going to do it for our thoughts on The Body at Brighton Rock. Again, worth watching for the cinematography. I don't think it's going to get a big theatrical release. I'd be very surprised if it did.
It'll go
Catch
VOD.
it on VOD, or just wait for one of those free streaming services, whether it be Shudder, Netflix, whatever.
Yep. Agreed.
It'll be worth your time on that.
Yeah, exactly. Give it a shot and see what you think. You may completely disagree with us. I mean, you may dig the hell out of the concept.
Film is subjective, as we say many times. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you again to Monty from the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival. Thank you to Patrick from Allied, and thank you to Jason from the Phoenix Film Festival for allowing us to come and cover it once again.
Putting together this great event.
Yes, that's going to do it for our review of The Body at Brighton Rock. Let us know in the comments down below if you have any interest in it. While you're down there, click the like button if you enjoyed this review, and subscribe if you want to see more of our Phoenix Film Festival reviews from this year. But until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, Jaime and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.